Hello and thank you for watching. I'm Jennifer Bowman with Olympia Piano, and this is the Olympia Piano Studio. I usually do most of my videos on this black piano here. Today I have a special video for you. I had the opportunity to meet Andrew Eales this summer in the UK at the Elena Cobb Star Prize Festival at Royal Albert Hall. And Andrew is a brilliant composer, author, and basically all things piano. And he's written this great little book. And I'd like to encourage anyone who watches this channel to get this book. It's called How to Practice Music. You can get it in the UK with the S for practice on Amazon or musicroom.com. And you can get it in the United States. There's a C in the title on Amazon, or you can have it shipped from Music Room like I did. So there's ways to get the book. It's published by Hal Leonard. It's 80 pages, but I have to say this is the best book on practicing music, and I've taught piano and played the piano for a long time, and I've had lots of books on how to practice artistry of piano, all of that kind of stuff. And so what I want to do here on my channel, I'd like to invite you to get the book, read it, and then I'm going to just go a little bit deeper in some of the chapters. So for today, what I'd like to do is take a look at page 15. So on page 15, Andrew says, to help you focus on a manageable but effective practice strategy, it can help to think of two types of session. Session 1, the routine session, and session 2, the deep dive. So in this video, I would like to give you examples of these types of sessions for an intermediate piano student. Then I'll do a follow-up video for what these sessions might look like for someone who's more advanced or someone who's performing a lot. So let's get started with the intermediate student. As a piano teacher, if I have a student who's coming to my studio for 45-minute lessons, I like to encourage them to practice 45 minutes, 4 days a week minimum. So what I'll do right now is dissect that 45-minute practice session for that student. So Andrew says the routine session, this is ideally a daily fixture and might range in length from about 10 minutes to an hour depending on your level and lifestyle. So let's talk about a 45-minute session. What's that going to include? For that intermediate student, for me, that's going to include some finger exercises. And I love the dozen a day. This is tried and true. It's been around forever. And if you really look into it, this is really deep stuff, actually. Usually for my students, I'll have them do 6 exercises for a week's practice. So what could that look like? Maybe each day you learn 2. And then as you go through it, then you get all 6 and then you play them. This is my favorite one, red pepper. It's fast. So I don't know if you're familiar with that, but one thing I like to have my students do is once they have the exercises to mix it up, do it the next key. Okay, so we've got for the technique portion of the lesson, which should be done every day, by the way, that and then some sort of series depending on the level of major and minor scales. So for an intermediate student, it's probably going to be something like 2 octaves up and down scales, right, left, together. You might have a chord progression in there. Probably some hand separately arpeggios. Probably intro to chromatics. And whatever else you decide to incorporate in that. But the key point in terms of the technique stuff, the scales, those should really be done every day because you're building the muscles. And you can focus on different things every day. One day you might focus on the fingering. One day you might focus on the hand position. One day you might play it staccato, legato. You can incorporate that to mix it up. Okay, so then part 2 of the routine session for an intermediate student. Let's say we're working on the Clementi, Sonatina in C, 3rd movement. The teacher is assigned 32 measures for that week. So 2 sections. The routine practice, day 1 could just be hands separately. Locking in the fingering. And then right hand. Day 2, put 8 measures, hands together. the second half of that, starting in measure 17. Right, left, together. Once you have the hands together, then one of the routine practice things might be practicing the scale 10 times. Making sure the crossovers are happening at the right time. You might also have a day where you focus on the articulation. The left hand's legato, and the right hand has some lifts in there. It takes a while to coordinate that sort of thing. Your hands are going to want to pop up together. So that could be part of the routine practice on one of the days. And then you would go to piece number 2. So I've got this beautiful edition here, Graded Gillock. One of my favorite pieces here is on page 14. It's called Drifting Clouds. Now for this one, the hands are pretty much together or crossing over all the time. So you might take a different tactic with something like this. Instead of doing right, left together, this isn't really set up for that. So your routine practice for this might just be simply learning 4 measures every day. It's a 20 measure piece. So if you practice for 5 days, 45 minutes, then you'd have the whole piece. So day 1 practice would literally be figuring out these notes. Really slowly, figuring out where the hands are gonna go. And then you could go a little bit faster once you've had it. And then as part of the intermediate regimen, I like to have the students either have a sight reading book, there's so many excellent sight reading books out there, or take a book that's maybe 2 levels under their current actual playing level, set the timer for 5 minutes, sight read for 5 minutes. Then we get to part 2, the deep dive. Andrew says for the deep dive, try a longer, more absorbing and playful practice session, preferably once a week. So there's so many things you can do for this. You can take a chord progression, even just 2 simple notes. 1 chord, 4 chord. Now what could be fun? Roll through that chord. See what comes out. Add the left hand. You might do a different pattern. What you could do, but that's chord progression. I like to have my students pick pieces that are piano pieces, maybe non-classical pieces that everybody knows. So something like Jan Tiersen. So the deep dive might be learning a piece like this. Excited about playing right now. It's 2024 when I'm making this video, is the golden hour. So learn a piece like the golden hour. I have a lot of students who participate in their worship. So sometimes the assignment for the deep dive is to figure out the close positions of chords and create an accompaniment. So if we have G, D, G, taking the time so it's not, but finding the close positions. Then once you find the close position, making something up. And then finally, I don't really have the method to show you at the piano. One thing my particular students love doing for deep dive is transcribing a piece they've been working on. I'm also a composer, and so I compose a lot using a DAW, which is DAW, Digital Audio Workstation. And in that program, you can create a full orchestra of things. So my students absolutely love putting their pieces into the Da. So, for example, you might have the Bach D major. And so they might put some sort of hip hop beat to it. They might put this part in the bassoon and then have this be a synthesizer, whatever. But that's a really creative, really fun way to take a deep dive into the music. So thank you very much for watching. I could go on and on, but I know your time is limited and I appreciate you watching. Get this book. The links are in the description. Please also make sure to support the work and expertise of Andrew Eales. I'm going to place the link to his website and blog here so you can learn more about him and all the things he does for the piano community. Please subscribe if you found this content helpful. You can also share with others who might enjoy this style of teaching, or even donate to my channel using PayPal or YouTube Super Thanks. So thank you to all of those who have donated. When you're able to donate, it allows me to allot more time to create more videos to help more people around the world. Which leads me to my last point. Please, in the comments, let me know where you're from. And as always, thank you for watching.